You've been thinking about that person with an intensity you can't explain, as if something in the spirit is screaming that they're important. But you don't understand why all this urgency. Let me confirm for you. God is moving rapidly toward that specific person who won't leave your mind, and you're about to discover why this acceleration is no coincidence. Do you feel it too? That restlessness you can't explain? That person you've been dreaming about? The one who appears in your thoughts at 3 in the morning, the one who makes your heart race when you see their name on your phone? That person isn't your obsession, it's God's purpose. And when God decides it's time for two people to truly connect, He doesn't move slowly. You're feeling this divine speed because something has shifted in the spiritual realm. God is aligning you two for something He planned a long time ago. That unexplainable attraction, that feeling like you already know each other, that strange peace you feel when you imagine a future with this person, that's not fantasy. That's God whispering to your heart. Let me explain exactly why God is accelerating specifically with this person now. First reason, you two have finally reached the same spiritual frequency. For years, one of you was ready while the other was still learning. God waited patiently until both of you developed the emotional and spiritual maturity necessary to sustain what He planned for you. Now that you're on the same level, He won't make you wait any longer. Second reason, there's a divine window of opportunity opening. Just as there's a time to plant and a time to harvest, there's a time for two people to meet. This window doesn't stay open forever. That's why you're feeling this urgency in the spirit. It's not human anxiety, it's celestial timing. Third reason, you have a joint mission that needs to happen now. God isn't bringing you together just to be happy, though you will be. He's uniting you because together you can impact other lives, other families, serve His purpose in a way you couldn't alone. Your union isn't just about love, it's about calling. That's why you can't get this person out of your head. That's why you feel something big is about to happen. That's why you have this strange certainty in your chest even when circumstances don't completely make sense yet. Now let me show you the signs that God is really accelerating the process with this specific person. First sign, the communication between you has changed in quality. Even if it's little, it's deeper, more meaningful. Second sign, you've started having vivid dreams about this person that leave you with a sense of certainty when you wake up. Third sign, synchronicities are increasing. You appear in the same places. People mention them out of nowhere. You constantly see signs that remind you of them. Fourth sign, you've developed a supernatural peace about this situation. It's no longer that desperate anxiety. It's a confident expectation, as if you knew the ending is already written by God. Fifth sign, other relationships have completely lost interest for you. It's not that you can't find anyone else. It's that no one else makes sense after feeling what you feel for this person. Sixth crucial sign, you've changed as a person since they entered your life. You've become more generous, more patient, more focused on growing spiritually. This happens because when God places someone special in our life, that person awakens the best in us, even before we're officially together. But how do you distinguish if this is really divine movement or just your heart creating fantasies? Divine movement comes accompanied by deep peace, even in uncertainty. When it's God orchestrating, you feel a calm certainty that, regardless of how or when, you'll end up together. When it's just human desire, you feel urgency, desperation, need to control their every move. Do you recognize this difference? Divine movement inspires you to become better, to deserve what you're asking for. You start praying more, taking better care of yourself, resolving pending issues in your life. When it's just physical or emotional attraction, you become obsessed with trying to change them or the situation. Divine movement brings confirmations from unexpected sources. People start mentioning them. You receive advice that makes sense for your situation. You find verses or messages that speak directly to your heart. When it's just your mind, you need to force the signs to make sense. Now notice something crucial about what you should do with this divine acceleration. First, stop questioning whether you deserve this. God doesn't make destination mistakes. If He's moving you toward each other, it's because you were made for each other. Second, don't try to force the timing. Let God orchestrate the details. Your part is to be ready spiritually and emotionally. Third, use this time to become the best version of yourself. Not to impress this person, but to honor what God is preparing. Heal old wounds. Develop your relationship with God. Grow in areas where you know you need to grow. When two clean vessels come together, they can carry more pure water. Fourth, keep your heart open but protected. Open to receive the love God is sending, but protected against human expectations that could disrupt the divine plan. Trust the process, even when you don't understand every step. But here's something few people realize about how this love will manifest differently from everything you've ever experienced. When God unites two destined people, there's no unnecessary drama. There may be growth challenges, but no mind games. There's no confusion about feelings. There may be timing to adjust, but no doubts about the connection. This person will see you exactly as God sees you. They'll value qualities of yours that others ignored. They'll love you in a way that makes you feel at home, not insecure. They'll want to grow with you, not compete against you. Can you imagine what that will be like? And here's what many don't understand about destined relationships. They're not perfect, they're purposeful. You won't agree on everything, but you'll be committed to growing together through everything. You won't just have passion, you'll have partnership. You won't just have romance, you'll have deep mutual respect. Speaking of deep mutual respect and purposeful love, I'm noticing that many of you are feeling this divine acceleration, but still carry wounds from past relationships that make you question if you're truly ready for this sacred love God is preparing. If betrayals and disappointments have left scars that make you afraid to fully open your heart again, I need to share something that could change everything for you. I've prepared a heartfelt gift called How to Attract and Recognize True Love, a complete guide on healing those emotional wounds and developing the self-love necessary to receive the love God is sending your way. It's waiting in the first pinned comment. If it's meant for you, your heart will know. And it's precisely this readiness and healing that makes all the difference when God's timing arrives. That's why God is accelerating now. Because you both have developed the maturity to sustain something real. You've learned the difference between love that completes wounds and love that complements healing. You're no longer looking for someone to solve your problems, you're ready to build something new together. Now observe specific signs that this acceleration is happening right now. You might start noticing this person is more present in conversations. Even if subtle, you might feel they're paying more attention to you, observing your reactions, remembering small details you mention. You might also notice a change in energy when you're in the same environment, as if there were an invisible connection pulling you toward each other. Other people might even comment on the chemistry between you, even when you haven't done anything obvious. God might also be removing obstacles that previously prevented you from getting closer. Complicated situations resolving, people who caused interference leaving the scene, opportunities arising for you to spend more time together. And here's something powerful. When God accelerates a destined connection, He works on both hearts simultaneously. So while you're feeling this urgency, this clarity, this certainty about this person, they're feeling something similar about you. They might not know how to interpret what they're feeling yet, but the movement is happening on both sides. You're seeing how God works on both hearts at the same time, aren't you? This reminds me that many of you still struggle with feeling worthy of this deep love. Remember that guide I mentioned? It's in the first pinned comment and will help you build the self-worth needed to recognize true love when it arrives. But let's continue about this simultaneous work God does. That's why you can have this supernatural peace even in uncertainty. Because deep in your spirit, you know this doesn't depend only on you convincing them. God is working on their heart too, preparing the moving resistances, creating openness for what He planned. But notice something important about what might be happening with this person at this exact moment. They might be more thoughtful lately, as if processing something they can't explain. They might be questioning superficial relationships that previously satisfied them. They might be praying more, seeking God's direction about their heart. You might also notice they're paying more attention to conversations about serious relationships, about life purpose, about spiritual growth, as if God were preparing their heart to receive something deeper than they've experienced before. And here's a powerful sign many ignore. They might be going through a spiritual cleansing process too. Old toxic friendships drifting away, relationships that didn't honor God naturally coming to an end, self-destructive patterns losing power over them. God doesn't join dirty vessels, He cleans both first. Now, understand why you feel this specific urgency about this person and not others. It's because God has already confirmed in your spirit that they are the person He chose to walk alongside you. It's not that you couldn't be happy with someone else. It's that you wouldn't be complete in His purpose without them specifically. That's why no other connection satisfies anymore. That's why you've lost interest in relationship games. That's why you've developed such a high standard that seems impossible to reach. God elevated your discernment because He doesn't want you to settle for less than His best for your life. And when this union finally manifests completely, you'll understand why all the other relationships didn't work out. It wasn't because you weren't good enough. It was because they weren't God's plan A. They were preparation, not destination. Each previous person taught you something you needed to learn to be ready for them. Each previous pain removed a layer of immaturity that needed to go. Each previous disappointment made you value loyalty, honesty, true commitment more. That's why now you recognize quality when you see it. That's why now you don't settle for half-hearted love. That's why now you have the patience to wait for the right one instead of rushing with the convenient one. But here's a prophetic word about what's coming. When this person finally positions themselves in your life the way God planned, you'll experience a type of peace you've never felt before. It won't be the peace of absence of challenges. It will be the peace of certainty that you're in the center of God's will. You'll wake up every day grateful, not just for finding love, but for finding purpose through that love. Because when two people unite under God's blessing, they don't just build a family, they extend God's kingdom on earth. And here's something you might not have noticed. God has used this waiting time to develop qualities in you that you didn't even know you needed. The patience you developed waiting for this person, you'll need that in married life. The faith you exercised, trusting His timing, that faith will sustain you through any storm you face together. The ability to love even in uncertainty that you've demonstrated, that's exactly the kind of unconditional love that builds relationships that last. God doesn't waste any experience in our life. Every day you waited for this person, every prayer you made, every moment you chose to trust instead of giving up, all of this was forming the man or woman this person needs you to be. And notice something about this person's heart. They've been praying for someone exactly like you. Maybe they don't know it's you yet, but the qualities they've asked God for are exactly the qualities He's been developing in you. Your kindness, your strength, your faith, your determination. They've been begging for these characteristics in a person. That's why when you finally truly connect, it will be like two puzzle pieces fitting perfectly together. There won't be that feeling of forcing something to work. It will flow naturally, as if you were born to be together, because you actually were. If this message touched your spirit, comment, "God, I trust your timing," and share with someone who needs to hear this. I can feel in the comments that many of you are recognizing these truths resonating in your hearts. If you've come this far and sense that God is truly accelerating something in your love life, but you still carry fear of fully surrendering because of past betrayals, know that healing is still possible. The How to Attract and Recognize True Love guide will help you break free from these self-sabotage patterns. It's waiting in the first pinned comment. Your heart already knows if it's time to take this healing step. And speaking of taking that courageous step toward healing dreams, now receive 3 practical things to do while God finalizes the last details of this encounter. Not in first, Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, He has made not just praying for this person, but praying to become the man or woman God wants you to be for them. So today, second, make a choice. Continue investing in your personal growth. Trust that they will read books that will make you a better partner, not because you develop skills that will bless your future family. God finished the work in their practice heart. Anticipatory gratitude that what's yours start thanking lost. God for this person every day. Yours doesn't as if they were already in your life, because God, this isn't presumption, is faithful. It's faith. The synchronicities you've been seeing, you're aligning your heart with what God has already decided. I'm preparing space in your world to receive what He's sending, and what I started, so trust the divine speed. So stop trying to make it rush. It's God's perfect timing. Excuses to appear in that person life. Who won't leave your mind. Stop obsessively God checking placed them there media. For a reason. Live your life that now. Connection you feel with purpose. It's with real passion, and reciprocal. With joy. Because even if it's not fully manifest yet, it's preparation time. Keep praying for this person. In yourself. Keep growing. Keep strengthening your relationship, but do it from a place of confident expectation, not desperate anxiety. Because when 2 people destined by God finally meet at the right time, there's no force in the world that can prevent what He planned, and He will give you. And your time is coming faster than you imagine. When you learn if this content has made a difference in your journey, and if you believe it deserves to reach more people, you can support this channel in a very simple way. And then He brings this person back. Just click the thanks button below the video and make a donation. With their heart any contribution, in the right however way, small, helps a lot to keep this space alive. And just so it's absolutely clear, and even if you can't right now, they will reach out to you. It's not maybe. It's spiritual certainty. It's prophetic word over your life. They will make the first. You're about to give up waiting for that person God placed in your heart exactly when the meeting is closer than it's ever been. God is saying today, don't give up now. The love you've been asking for, praying for, waiting for so long is just one step away from manifesting in your life. If you found this video, it's no coincidence. You're living that dangerous moment where everything inside you screams to accept that maybe you'll be alone forever. Where every fiber of your being whispers that maybe it's better to stop dreaming about that special connection and settle for any relationship that comes along. Where you look at your love life and think, maybe I'm waiting for someone who will never come, but I have a revelation straight from God's heart for you. You're not seeing what He's seeing about your romantic destiny. You're measuring the distance to your soulmate with human eyes, but God works in dimensions that completely transcend our perception of time and relationships. The love you've been crying out for isn't distant. It's not delayed. It hasn't been cancelled. It's closer than you can imagine. And the proof of this is exactly the intensity of the pressure you're feeling to give up on this person now. There's a spiritual law that most people don't understand about divine relationships. Resistance always intensifies before the encounter. It's as if all opposing forces unite in one last desperate attack to prevent you from living the love God prepared specifically for your life. The closer you are to your soulmate, the more intense the pressure becomes for you to accept anything less than God's best. Think of a dam that accumulates water for months. The pressure builds gradually, silently, until it reaches a critical moment where the structure can no longer contain the accumulated force. And then, in a matter of seconds, everything that was held back is released at once, completely transforming the landscape around it. Your love life is at that exact point. Months, maybe years of praying for true love, refusing to accept emotional crumbs, having faith in God's perfect plan, have created such intense spiritual pressure that it's about to break through all barriers that were preventing your divine love from manifesting. And when it happens, it won't be gradual. It will be sudden, powerful, impossible to deny. While you struggle against the temptation to settle for less down here, there's an extraordinary movement happening in heaven over your love life. Angels are being strategically positioned to orchestrate divine encounters. Circumstances are being aligned with surgical precision, so you two cross paths at the exact moment. The person God chose for you is being prepared in ways you can't even imagine. It's like a giant puzzle where you can only see a few scattered pieces of your romantic journey, but God is seeing the complete picture of the relationship you'll live together. And the final pieces, the decisive pieces that will reveal the entire design of divine love, are being put in place at this exact moment. The Bible shows us a clear pattern of how God operates in moments of romantic breakthrough. It doesn't happen when we expect, nor the way we imagine. It happens suddenly, at the moment when our natural strength to keep waiting has reached its limit and all that's left is to trust Him completely for the impossible. Look at Joseph in Egypt. 13 years away from family, away from any possibility of building a love life. 13 years as a slave, then prisoner, then forgotten. If Joseph were living today, he would have every reason to give up on love. He would have every reason to conclude that God had forgotten not only to free him, but also to bless him with a family. But one ordinary morning, everything changed in a matter of hours. Pharaoh had a dream. Someone finally remembered Joseph. In a single day, pay attention, a single day, he went from prison, was washed, dressed, and placed as second in command of all Egypt. And soon after, God gave him Asenath as his wife, a woman who would not only love him, but build with him a blessed family and a dynasty that would change history. 13 years of apparent romantic abandonment transformed into a few weeks of complete restoration, position, purpose, and most importantly, true love. Your situation has the same spiritual DNA as Joseph's story. You're living the final period of preparation before the sudden manifestation of your divine love. That moment where it seems you'll never find someone again is exactly when everything is being aligned behind the scenes for your encounter to happen in an accelerated way. But you need to understand why the enemy is attacking your hope in love with such intensity now. Why the thoughts of "you'll die alone" are louder than ever. Why every happy couple you see on the street seems like a provocation to your loneliness. It's because the forces of darkness can see in the spiritual realm what your natural eyes can't see yet. They see the proximity of your divine encounter. They see angels positioning themselves to orchestrate your love story. They see this person being molded by God to be exactly what you need. And that's why they're desperate to make you give up waiting and accept any mediocre relationship before the extraordinary manifests. Every whisper of "just accept anyone" is a cry of desperation from those who know they're about to lose the battle for your love life. Every thought of "you're too picky" is a final attempt to prevent you from witnessing God's power, creating a relationship that will be a testimony of His faithfulness. Think of Moses before the Red Sea. The people were trapped. Pharaoh and his army coming from behind. The giant sea in front. Mountains on each side.